Hello YouTubers out there, this is the Boob Wasteland Show with your host Jerry Saravia. I've neglected to talk about The View, the daytime talk show from ABC that is on every single day from Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. since the new season started, which was last fall. The reason is because, I felt that I didn't have anything really new to say because Rosie O'Donnell came on board and then she left in February. Prior to that, of course, we had the departure of Jenny McCarthy, not to mention Jerry Shepard. So as some of you know who have watched this channel, I've discussed The View on many occasions. I do watch the show. I watch it with my wife basically every single day, and we fast forward through segments that I'm getting sick and tired of. In particular, anything where they're trying to hawk certain products where the show starts to resemble something like QVC. Nothing wrong with QVC, but this is a View, not QVC. So, the latest news is that today, Rosie Perez announced that she's leaving The View, and her last show will be on August 6th, which she has decided to stay the run, unlike some other View co-hosts in the past who left prematurely. Now, she said that she wants to resume her movie career. And she's also going to be serving as an anchor, or at least someone that will be discussing boxing on ESPN. But just because you're a regular contributor to that doesn't mean you still can't do The View. So I don't know if she's really interested in trying to get back into the movies or not. She just, she's having her Broadway run right now with Larry David. So the thing is that, now if I recall, when Rosie Perez first entered The View last fall, which wasn't that long ago really, she had a lot of pride because this was the first time that they had a Latina co-host serving as a panelist on The View. First time ever. It's never happened before in The View. In fact, I think there are very few shows at all, particularly for this type of show in its format, to have somebody of Spanish or Hispanic or Latina descent in particular. So that was a big plus, and she, this was a big deal, and she was glad to be on board. So today she comes on and she's, she's crying, and she says she's leaving The View to pursue other passions. I don't really buy it, not for a second, not when you consider what an inspiration was for people to know that someone that was a Latina could be one of the regular co-hosts on The View. This was really just an unusual thing. And it seemed that she really enjoyed being there, so I don't understand why she felt that she had to leave. Now, if it is to focus on movies, that's fine, but you would think that's something, she would have focused on before. And according to IMDb, there are no upcoming projects, with the exception of one, which is called, if I can find it right now, 5 Nights in Maine, which is currently in post-production. And it was a previous film called The Being Experience that is still in post-production, dated 2013, the filming. And this film, 5 Nights in Maine, stars David Oyelowo, sorry, I can't pronounce that one, and Diane Wiest and Rosie Perez. So I don't know too much more about this particular film. But anyway, there doesn't seem to be anything else in the pipeline. Now, interestingly enough, Variety magazine pointed out that perhaps Nicole Wallace, who is the Republican on the show, and that's important to state because she's really the one that's really political on the show, that kind of is a hark back to Elizabeth Hasselbeck. There is doubt whether she's going to remain on the show or if just one woman was going to be dropped. According to Variety magazine, the network execs are underwhelmed with their contributions to the show's signature Hot Topics segment. And apparently, for next season, if not now, they will shift the focus permanently toward more light-hearted celebrity fluff. Which would be a mistake, because the whole point of The View was the fact that they even have President Obama on there. I think The View, it was really the first time they had a sitting president, if I'm not mistaken, sitting president on The View. Elizabeth Hasselbeck and Whoopi and Joy Behar, they kind of all went against each other in some way. Whenever they talked about politics, it made for good television, because what they were doing was sharing their views. And okay, so there was a little crosstalk, but it hit a nerve, because that's how people were talking about politics. For those who are not necessarily experts in politics, this is how they would talk about it, and that was the focus on the show. That's what it became. So to go away from that, particularly when you have Nicole Wallace on there, who used to was working on Sarah Palin's campaign. You all know that story. And used to work for former President George W. Bush. So you can't do that. I mean, that would be dumb. Now, the executives apparently are facing pressure from affiliates to rescue The View from a significant ratings drop following Barbara Walters' retirement in May 2014. So in the second quarter of this year, The View has averaged 2.48 million viewers, which is down 16% from last year, and only 386,000 women in the key 18-49 demo, which is down 18%. Now, according to this, there will be a 5-woman co-host format next year, and of course, Raven-Symoné, who became the new co-host in the show, who I really do like. She's a very likable, girl. She will be returning, but whether or not Nicole Wallace will be returning remains to be seen. Now, the other thing is that apparently today they were going to make the announcement that the comedian, who I do like, Michelle Collins, would be taking over as a new co-host. But they decided to let it be Rosie Perez's day to announce her departure. So I gather tomorrow they will make the announcement Michelle Collins will be a new co-host, and they're going to be doing a rotation once again, this is the problem with The View. You can't keep doing a rotation of guests. So it's going to be Stacey London and that model Molly Sims. And this is a problem, because at one time it was very finite, The View. You know what I mean? You had Barbara Walters, you had Whoopi Goldberg, you had Joy Behar, Elizabeth Hasselbeck, and Sherry Shepherd. And all of those women are gone, with the exception of Whoopi Goldberg. And Whoopi Goldberg's contract is up next year, so we don't know for sure what's going to be happening. Supposedly, allegedly, rumors abound that she is angry behind the scenes. The reason I bring this show up is because I do like it. I mean, it's probably, not a show that's meant for men, but I do enjoy watching it. I would never call myself a major fan at all, but I do enjoy watching it, in particular Whoopi Goldberg's defense of Bill Cosby. So a lot of these things is what makes the show, but in particular the political stuff. So don't do away with that, please. Just don't do it. But if they do, they might do away with Nicole Wallace, who, as many of you know who have been watching the show, she really knows very little about pop culture, which is okay. Pop culture is awful. Why should you know about all the private lives of all your celebrities that you love? But anyway, the point of her was the political aspect. She could bring some of that experience that she had into explaining about politicians, in particular Republicans, and how they think, and what their maneuvers are, and everything else. So, I don't know. All I can tell you is this. This will probably be the very last time I even talk about The View. I've discussed it many times throughout the last few years, because if they are going to do away with even Nicole Wallace, I can't continue watching, and especially if you do away with the political stuff. It's nice to hear a woman's point of view, which is a view, a general view. That's what the network seems to be forgetting. So we'll see what happens. Of course, unless it's a major thing that comes up, this is really the only time I've talked about The View in many, many months, probably over a year now, since Jenny McCarthy left. So, yeah. Okay. We'll see what happens, I guess. So I can't promise I'm going to talk about The View anymore on this show. And this is Jerry Saravia, the Boob Wasteland Show, as your host, signing off.